all the time, Mr. Satish Gujral. We have a mural outside done by M.F. Hussain. It's very, very active now. Especially if you compare it from the last 20 years, it's been much more active now, and there's so many other galleries which have come up, which is proving that there is viewership and people are liking art and they want to see more of it.
If we were to go back to the history of my shop, which goes back to 1890 or 5 generations ago, I think the best informers guidelines that I get are for the children, who with their very good grapevine are so well informed within their own circle of friends that sometimes they become my markers as to, uncle, 6 months down the line, you better have this because this is the new toy that's coming up.
As you see, it's like a dying art right now because all the exposure the youngsters are having is of Western instruments like guitar. The kids, they feel that, you hold a guitar, then you feel cool, you look cool. Locally, if I say, we have very few people coming in buying Indian classical instruments. But people who are living abroad, like NRIs, they are away from home. So they more value the culture and the art of the country, of their home country. My father told me the story when the Fab Four Beatles, they came to the store in 1966 and they bought instruments from him. He made a special sitar for George Harrison, and these instruments, they used the same instruments for their music later on.
Connaught Place also offers a more traditional variety of shopping in the form of bazaars. Palika Bazaar offers the latest trends in fashion, handicrafts, and a delightful section of Indian local wear. Today's Connaught Place in contemporary Delhi not only occupies the central core of the city, but has also grown to represent its heart. In every way, this huge bowl of urbanity with white-rimmed edges and a green center could easily qualify to be amongst some of the great living spaces in urban history. Very recently, Delhi has flourished as one of the most vivacious centers of innovative arts in India.
The National Gallery of Modern Art is the repository of the cultural ethos of the country in the context of creative expression and the context of contemporaneity. After all, when you're a museum, you need to have or you need to showcase something that has contributed to the making of that cultural ethos. This means that all those trajectories that have helped in shaping ideology and creative expression are what can find a place in this museum. That's a very difficult task. So this means that you need to know your scenario well, you need to know what artists are doing, in what context of time, what did they create and why, you know. The mandate of this museum is post-1850, so it is not about today alone. It's about also how history has shaped itself. Well, interestingly, most of the time histories are written, but this is a visual history. And let me tell you, this history is the most authentic history. Why? Because an image has so much embedded in it that depends on how well you can read it. The rest of the written word could be a misinterpretation as well. So there is a committee, there are specialists, there are art historians, there are artists, there are writers who actually sit down and debate about what is it that is truly worthwhile coming into a museum. People from all walks of life, unfortunately, do not walk into it. That's a very sad thing. Why? Why? Because our educational system has not ensured that the understanding of art, and especially non-recognizable art, is disseminated in such a fashion. So it's considered to be forbidden territory. Oh, modern art that you don't understand. But the point is, you don't need to understand art. An art doesn't need, people want to understand things, but actually what do you need to do? You need to experience art. After all, when you sit down and eat food, what is it that the residue remains? It's the taste. Can you describe it? You use as many words, you'll never be able to describe it. Actually, you can experience it. But we get people from all walks of life, a lot of foreign visitors, get a lot of schools and art lovers. So, but I wish that, that more people from different cross sections of society do walk in, and more importantly, children.
Organization was established in 1950 by Maulana Azad, who was the first education minister of India. He had a great vision supported by the Prime Minister of India then, Jawaharlal Nehru, who believed that if we want to build deeper understanding globally, and if we want to have a strong relationship and friendship internationally, culture provides the most viable mechanism to establish those understandings. So ICCR's motto was cultural communion, what I call cultural conversations, cultural dialogue, which is a bit different from simply projection of Indian culture. It is like what Mahatma Gandhi said, keep your windows open and let all cultures come into the home. So we basically believe ICCR's motto simply is take Indian culture abroad and bring other cultures into India so that the dialogue can start. And I think that we have been doing very, very successfully. The form of the cultural dialogue changes, has evolved depending on the social and the economic context. Earlier, we were depending mostly on performance of our Indian traditional classical art forms, dance, music, paintings, etc. Today, we are doing far more creative things, like in forms of festivals, which combine performing arts with the book exhibitions, painting exhibitions, authors talking to each other, dialogue, conferences, etc., etc. Another very important thing we did right from the beginning, and again basically because Maulana Azad was the education minister, we found that if we want to establish long-term friendships, we must start young. And so we began to invite foreign students to come to India to study in our universities on the basis of our scholarships. Now, all these programs have grown tremendously. Today, for example, we have now around 5,000 foreign students studying in India under the scholarships given by ICCR. Not only that, the number of the self-financing students from abroad into India has grown to practically about 70 or 80,000. And ICCR looks after the welfare of all of them, which shows the role we play in promoting education abroad, Indian education abroad.
Most significant thing that happened in from 1911 is that people saw the value of urban design. Yeah? They saw the value in designing an entire city, not simply planning it. Yeah? A master plan or a plan that is a city now is normally prepared as a two-dimensional thing. But New Delhi was conceived in its third dimension. Yeah? It considered the landform, it considered what you see, it considered the experience of moving on the road, it was well integrated with the landscape, and everything was laid out in such a way that they fit together in a harmonious way as a composition. That's why New Delhi is such a pleasant experience even now to drive through New Delhi. And this is not really a piece of land in Delhi, this is nation space. The entire India's imagination about the capital of our country is vested in this image, the image of New Delhi. So, maintaining and nurturing that image is the most important challenge for New Delhi. Because New Delhi, as I said, is nation space. It needs to be seen from the perspective of providing the symbolic image for a democratic country's capital. And therefore it must have quality as its basis, the environmental quality that you see with full of trees and very well maintained, lovely buildings, well located, well related to public spaces and buildings. And also the other interesting thing is that many of the monuments, important monuments in the city has been incorporated as a part of the visual structure of New Delhi.
If you look at Delhi 10 years or 5 years or 7 years ago, it was full of the basic problems of a good living But today it's a very comfortable city, and it's recognized as the most comfortable city to live in India. So I guess we have managed to change it. The scenario has changed, the metro has come, which has completely changed the pattern of travel. Then new buses, new flyovers, new widening of roads, extensions of colonies, recognition of colonies. So all that has changed. Even the culture of Delhi has changed. We have tried, and I personally have taken great interest in it, is to bring about a lot of culture to Delhi. So we have festivals, music festivals, youth festivals, theatre festivals, cinema festivals, everything, classical music and pop music, everything, and debates, and people congregate here to bring their meetings here, international and national. So Delhi has changed quite a lot.
New Delhi is India's contemporary equivalent, bustling, heterodox, anti-ritual and prosperous. It is a symbol of a country on the move, the urban flagship of a better tomorrow. It will lead India into the 21st century